Good morning, afternoon, or evening from whenever or wherever you are watching this video from. In this video, I'm going to go over some talking points in the world of football from the last week or so. And if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. Now let's get straight into it. Gonna be a good day, a good vibe. Let's talk about top of the league Arsenal now. Do they really have what it takes to win the league this season? Or are they going to bottle it again like they have in 2 of the previous 3 years? They currently sit 4 points clear of Man City in second and Aston Villa in third, but that could have easily been a bigger gap as they have dropped points in their last 3 Premier League matches, where they drew at home to Liverpool without a striker, they drew away to Nottingham Forest 0-0, so they didn't score in either of those matches, and then last weekend they lost to their rivals Manchester United. After going 1-0 up, they brought it back to 2-1 to Manchester United. They then got an equaliser, and then 2 minutes later, they let Manchester United go on and score, so they ended up losing that game 3-2. Which then at full time ended up with their fans booing the team at full time, which at a point I thought was a bit strange. But now looking back here, I can understand why, because I feel like PTSD is kicking in from seasons before, and now Arsenal are on the ropes, and they do feel like they may not make it this season. It's crazy to think a few weeks ago there was actually talk of them doing the quad, which obviously I never thought would happen. But maybe them being in all 4 competitions is a hindrance to them, as they are doing well in the cup competitions. But maybe all the games coming week in, week out, has caused them to drop points in the Premier League. As they currently sit top of the Champions League now, it's going to be interesting for me personally to see what team Arteta puts out today. If he goes strong, I can't see the reason why he does that, as he's got a massive game against Leeds away on the weekend. Because if, and it is a big if, because I don't think they will, but if they do lose that game and Man City and Aston Villa win, that point gap at the top of the table will be dropped down just to 1 point. Like I said already, for me, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but that has been one of my issues with Arteta this season, as he's been going strong in games that I feel like he could not have to go as strong in and put out his starting 11 in most of those matches, but he has done. So if he does it tonight against Carroll Almighty, that would be a very strange decision for me if he made that decision. But the big question here is, can Arsenal do it? Can they hold on to that 4-point gap with only 15 games to go and clinch their first Premier League title in 21 years? Me personally, I'm going to say it now on match day 23. I don't think they will, as I think Man City are that team that can go on a crazy run and catch them. They aren't showing consistency, though, Man City, to do it. But I believe that once they get a few more wins under their belt, it will put the pressure on Arsenal. And I feel like Arsenal will crumble, but only time will tell. Next, I want to talk about just how poor Liverpool have been this season. As they go to retain their title this year, this is one of the worst defences of a title I've seen, as especially as they had such an amazing campaign last season where they broke records. They've already lost 8 games so far this season. That is 1 in every 3 matches they've lost so far. When you think about it, Liverpool went from being an amazing team last year to this season looking a shell of their former selves. And just on the pitch, when you watch them, they just look like they have no leaders. Only Virgil van Dijk is the only one who looks like he's trying, and Szoboszlai. Everybody else just looks like they've given up. And that's why I'm not surprised when you hear statistics like Liverpool haven't won a Premier League game in the year of 2026, and we are on January the 28th, and they don't have a victory in their last 5 Premier League matches, which is the first time they haven't won a game in 5 matches since 1980-1981. And I'm not a Liverpool fan, but I do have a soft spot for them, and I do want to see them succeed. But I just can't see it, as their defence is so shaky this season. And now there's even talks of Andy Robertson leaving to go to Spurs. I mean, I don't understand any of their transfer business this season, as they already had Ekatike, they brought in Isaac. I know that's old news, but they clearly need defenders. But they're just going for attackers, and it just makes no sense. It feels like there's no leaders at Liverpool at present. Yes, I spoke about Virgil van Dijk earlier, and of course he is a leader on the pitch. You can even hear him through the telly talking. You can see him talking throughout the game, but his performances have been so under par this season. It's only Szoboszlai that it seems like he's the only one that's trying. And there is no clear signs of improvement from Liverpool in the Premier League. So I honestly do believe they will start dropping down that table. However, with that being said, they are winning games in Europe, as they beat Marseille, last week 3-0 in the Champions League. And now they're in the top 8. Don't be surprised if they go on a good run in that competition. I can even see them going on and winning it this season. I know that sounds crazy now, but I can see them dropping down the Premier League, but ending up winning with their hands on the Champions League title this season. Talking about dropping down the Premier League table, let's talk about another team in Tottenham, and why do they still have Frank in the dugout? Tottenham currently find themselves 8 points from safety in the Premier League, and I don't know why they're giving Thomas Frank so much time. I know he got a bit of a bligh as he got that win against Dortmund in the Champions League last week. That bought him a bit of time, but surely after that draw against Burnley, surely time is up and enough is enough for him in the dugout. My problem with this situation is I don't know why Tottenham are giving him so much time. Maybe it's because they're going through a transitional period. I get that. But surely you must have seen enough to say enough's enough, because I don't believe that another top six side would give Thomas Frank this much time if he was at their club. Is the job too big for him? And does he have what it takes to turn it around? Me personally, I don't think he does, but obviously the Tottenham board do. And I believe I know why, because he's such an amazing talker in his press conferences that I believe that he's waffled to them and he's given them enough waffle that they believe that he is the man for the job. But realistically, he should have gone by now. And that's not coming from me. That's coming from 99% of the Tottenham fan base. I have two very close friends of mine who are passionate Spurs fans, and they both want him gone from the club. So please, if you are a Spurs fan and you want him in, please comment me and we can debate this on a further video. My last point on this matter is, are Brentford any worse off without him? They appointed Keith Andrews in to take over from charge in his first managerial career job after Thomas Frank, and he's gone in there and he's doing a better job than Thomas Frank was doing there. So are Brentford really just a well-run club, or was Thomas Frank really that good? Staying with the London theme here, talking about clubs from London, let's move on to Crystal Palace, where they've hit the self-destruct button. I do feel sorry for Crystal Palace, as they had one of their best ever seasons last season when they won their first ever trophy in winning the FA Cup. They followed that up by winning the Community Shield at the beginning of this season, but then ever since then, everything's just gone downhill and fast. They lost one of, if not their best attacking player in Eze in the summer. Now, you can't blame that situation because Eze is a lifetime Arsenal fan and he did give them a hefty transfer fee in that one. But the Gahey situation, it just confuses me, as they could have taken 45 million in the summer. They turned that down. They then took 20 million in this transfer window. Yes, I do understand he has 6 months left on his contract, but think about it. You get around 3 million per place in the Premier League where you finish. If they finished 3 places higher, that's already 9 million. That's already 11 million pound loss. But and Gahey would have given them 4 or 5 extra positions, and they are now in threat of actually getting relegated to the Championship. And now it looks like Mateta's also going to follow Eze and Gahey out of the exit door. And this one is a bit of a weird situation, but I'll explain why I don't think it's so doom and gloom for Palace fans, But it just seems a bit strange. He wanted to leave to play Champions League football with Juventus, which I can fully understand. Then Aston Villa were interested, but they didn't get the deal over the line. But now it looks like he's going to go to Nottingham Forest, who are actually 2 places below Crystal Palace in the table. But he is obviously going to get a massive pay rise. So that's understandable. And I can understand why he wants to go. He's leaving for the money, not actually to go to a better club. And if the rumours are to go by and then he does leave and then they do get in Strun Larson from Wolves, I don't think it's that much of a drop-off as people are making out, as I believe that as he's at Crystal Palace, he will get more chances than he was at Wolves, and he does know how to find the back of the net. My big issue with Palace isn't the fact that the players are leaving, it's the fact that Oliver Glasner is leaving at the end of the season. Not only is he leaving at the end of the season, it looks like he's trying to get a way out now, as he keeps dropping in sly digs in the media. And it seems to me like he's just given up. And I say that with not hard evidence, but on the pitch, they are 11 games without victory, 8 of which are in the Premier League. Things don't look like they're going to turn around for Palace anytime soon. They also finished outside the top 8 of the Conference League, and no disrespect to that competition, but as a team in the best league in the world, the Premier League, surely they must be finishing in the top 8 of that competition. And then this is my point for Palace fans. I want to ask you a question. Do you scrap this Premier League season and just focus on the Conference League, win that and get into Europa League next season? But with that, you are only 8 points clear from safety. And I do believe that if things don't change around soon, you are highly likely that you are going to be in that relegation scrap and you could be playing in the Championship next season. Is it just me, or are teams performing better away from home than any other season I can think of? With 6 of the 20 teams picking up more points on the road this season, that is 1 in every 3 teams picking up more points away from home than at home. And I think I have some of the reasons why I think that is true this season. Now, I have to get back to you on that one if that's an actual fact. But for me personally, watching games every weekend, I feel like more teams are winning away from home and picking up more points away from home than ever. But like I say, I'll definitely get back and see if that's an actual fact in my next video. But I do believe that I have the answer to one of those questions. And that question is that most of the big clubs, now I'm not talking about the top 6 clubs, I'm talking about clubs with big fan bases. At home, there's just so much pressure on them to perform that when they go away from home, they can play more expressively and more fluently. So the 6 teams in question that have picked up more points on the road than at home this season are Chelsea, Tottenham, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Everton and Nottingham Forest. And that's six of the biggest fan bases in the league there. You have the likes of Tottenham picking up 10 points away from home more than at home this season. Chelsea have picked up 1 point on the road. West Ham is better on goal difference. Everton have picked up one more point on the road. Nottingham Forest have picked up 3 points on the road. And then Crystal Palace have picked up 4 more points on the road. And I do believe that is down to the fact that every club nowadays is expected to win every single game, as we do set our teams unexpected expectations, especially with the money spent every season in the Premier League. And to end this segment, I find it intriguing that four of the six clubs I mentioned are London based clubs. Do you believe that there's any correlation with this? And do you have the answer why do you believe that most clubs are from London in this situation? And the last topic this week I want to move on to is Aston Villa, and could they really win the league this season? For me personally, and I think I speak for most football fans around the globe, except for the other teams in the Midlands, their fan bases, when I say I would love to see Aston Villa win the league this year, as I love an underdog story, and it'd be nice to see a different winner of the Premier League. Villa are only 4 points behind Arsenal at the top of the table, and with only 15 games to go, they are in a title race. Whether people want to admit it or not, they are, and we have to say they are. Even though I don't think they will do it, as I don't think they have the squad depth to do it, I can see them going on and getting silverware this season, though, under Unai Emery, as he is the king of Europe, and he will give them the Europa League title this season, I believe, in my opinion. Thank you very much, guys. If you are still here at the end of my video, I really do appreciate the love and support I'll be getting from you guys. Please stay tuned for next week, as this is a new weekly feature I will be doing. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. Have a good week, guys. And remember, if you don't shoot, you can't score. Bye, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week.